Parents, Deacon John Wilson here, Education Enrichment Director for that church back there, West Angeles Church of God in Christ. Been a couple of weeks. I've traveled some, visited students on the East Coast, and took a little bit of time off right at the middle of the admission season. I know, but I needed the time off. We planned it some time ago, but I'm back working hard for your students. I just want to clear up something I'm hearing that's a little confusing to me that counselors are telling students. Uh, I know, I think the problem is that we're here in California. Let's just go ahead and restate the reality about the SAT, that UC and CSU are not even looking at SAT scores, which in turn has led to most private schools in the state, even if they say they're test optional, they ain't looking at scores because they're competing with UC and CSU for good students, especially minority students. So I don't think anywhere in the state it's going to matter with the SAT. And that's true with a lot of states, but it's not true with a certain genre of colleges. You have to understand how those colleges work, or have been very close to them or read applications for them to know this. But for certain selective private colleges, and I would say maybe super selective or quite selective that your student may want to go to. And that includes selective HBCUs like Howard. And I'll explain that in a minute. And others too, not just, I don't want to pick out Howard because they're a Black school or anything. I'm not doing that. I'm just saying they're a selective private college. Uh, Many of those colleges claim that they're test optional. Now, before I get into that, there are a whole slew of colleges that aren't even going to look at the SAT that are private selective, and you can find them at fairtest.org, www.fairtest.org. We're trying to accumulate a list for you too, but there's still a bunch of schools that are test optional. They can't afford to say they're dropping the test, and that should tell you something right there. I feel that a student that scores high on the SAT and has high grades will be advantaged for admission to those schools. It's not going to hurt that student. Remember, high test scores can only help you. Now, a lot of you say, well, I'm not going to score high. First of all, how do you know what high is for a school in a given year, given all the factors going on now? So don't be so quick just because you know you're not going to score high, or no, my student's never done well on testing. Parents, let's stop thinking that way. They should still take it and see what happens. Then they can just change their list if it bothers you. But I don't like this business of deciding beforehand you have high grades. I mean, you must have high grades. That's why you're looking at schools like the Ivy League schools, which means UPenn, Columbia, or you're looking at Duke and North Carolina and some very selective schools, the Georgetown, I'm hearing a lot this year. And many, I said Howard already, didn't I? Howard, for that matter, Spelman, And then there's the whole angle. So if you got to get past the admissions angle, you need high scores to compete with other students that have the same SAT. Now, colleges will say still apply because this time of year, they want to accumulate a certain number of applications. Then as we get to the deadlines, they want to now get close to deadline. Now they're sort of minimizing because they've got enough, and they'll tell you the truth more. But you need to take the SAT to see if you're competitive at least. And lo and behold, you'll be competitive. I feel like if your scores are above 1100 and you have very good grades, you'll send those scores in. They can only help you. I gotta say this again and again. Your test scores can only help. If you're a student, if you're a parent, their test scores can only help. There's one more issue I need to address. Some of these school websites are very open about this. Hey, we'll let you in without scores, but you have to have scores to compete for merit awards. So you might get into, like they say, a dog chasing a car, catches the car, what's he gonna do? So if you're a student, I'm not calling your student a dog, I'm just making an analogy. If they get into they get into an Ivy League school and you can't afford it, they may well not gotten in at all, MIT or wherever. You need to be able to get some money from that school. Again, test optional throw it out the window. It's test required. The test is required. All these schools are thinking about is admission. You got to think about paying for that thing. Okay. I hope this is clear. Test scores can only help. Okay. SAT scores. Now, we have a great SAT prep. We already filled for the November test. If you hurry, we might be able to get you in to that. But why not just have them take the November test, see how they go, but then sign up right now for the December. And I have SAT prep for the December test. It's really good. It's Prince review, and it's really going to help your student to score high on the SAT. But I hope I've made my knowledge on this matter and feelings very clear. If it's test optional, your student has high grades, they're going for selective private colleges, they need to take the SAT. All right. I know that California schools aren't even looking at it. And I know the NCAA, by the way, doesn't require the SAT. So we're not talking about those schools right now. And there are a lot of schools in the West I didn't talk about that to get the merit award, you need to take the SAT. I hope it's clear. Get a hold of me if you have any questions as usual. I hope that if you're seeing this video, you subscribe to our channel and you like the video. That would help us to monetize this someday, but also for you to get notifications when I drop a video. God bless you all. I hope you're doing so well. Call me up, email me, let me know what you think about this. Bye-bye now.